You're listening to the Positivity Hour podcast, hosted by Darshaun Smith. Strap in and buckle up, and let's get straight into it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the almost said New Wave Certified. I've been recording that podcast so much, kind of forgot I had my own for a second. But yeah, today is June 7th. It's episode 180. I'm your host, Darshaun Smith, and there's five main things I want to put up four fingers. Five main things I want to talk about in today's episode of the Positivity Hour, specifically because I've been posting content consistently for 6 months now, and I just want to share some insights I've had and what that data and knowledge has taught me and what that's going to mean going forward. So yeah, long story short, this is going to be super nice, short and sweet episode because I don't have a lot I want to talk about other than these five things that can be summarized, funny enough, into a video I watched the other day. And shout out to the creator Callaway on YouTube. I'll put their information up here on the screen. But they said these five things, and it's exactly it's the exact conclusions I had just got the data for over these last months. Okay, it's the thing that has helped my business. It's the thing that's helped me personally. It's the thing that's helped me just try to create better content consistently and get my message out and help people like yourself. In this case, feel like you can do something with your life. Feel like you could be something in this world. So I'm gonna just give you the five things real fast, and we're just gonna hop straight into it. So yeah, number one, social media is not social anymore. It's just media. Number two, pure virality is a trap. Okay, you want on-target virality. Number three, fish where the fish are. Rather than homie hopping all everywhere, if your main people are just there, just be there. You know what I'm saying? Number four, think in islands and not ecosystems. And then on to the next for number five, value doesn't accrue at the media layer. So I say all of that to say that I'll go in detail a little bit about that. But if that's all you wanted, a little update about what I've been doing over the last 2 weeks as you've been watching these interviews with John Larkin, which I encourage you to go do because they were pretty good. I'm not going to lie. For my first two interviews with a guest of the year on the podcast. But that time off from having to make this a few hours before you see it allowed me, one, to make more content for other people, and then two, think about what I've been doing in terms of the content I've been creating, so on and so forth. So I say all that to say, let's get back into this. So, social media is not social anymore. It's just media. I've been noticing this for quite some time, specifically ever since I left high school, when it was really social media because your friends and your family would like every post, comment on every video, hype you up, this and that. And then when I got into the real world, not like that Andrew Tate program, which I also am in, but more importantly, the real world, the physical realm we're in, like these people in these cars driving in the background, my actual car right there, so on and so forth. You realize that social media has turned into like what CNN is or what Fox News is. It's literally just a spot to sell information and, drive some ads to it. That's all it is these days. Unless you have a privated Instagram with like 100 followers and you're a girl, okay? Like social media doesn't really exist. And there's nothing wrong with that. But to grow, you need to stop acting like it's social and need to start acting like it's media, meaning feed the algorithm what it wants. It wants people to stay on the platform longer. So do something that you can do consistently and well at a high level to make that happen. And if you can do that, you'll see more help from the platform because if you make them money, they'll help you make money. Number two, pure virality is a trap. Think Mr. Beast. I watched one of his videos the other day, and that joint got like 200 million views, okay? Like, don't get it twisted. It's pretty cool that, our boy Jimmy is doing well out here. But at the same time, you got to think, like, how often can you, one, maintain that? But then two, like, when you're getting that many views, that's almost every single person in this nation, meaning your views are coming from all over the place, And especially if your goal is to sell a specific product to a specific person, in my case, for my business, photos, videos, graphic service, a production company to where I can, help create content and capture moments for the individuals and such. If I'm out here getting people that are into astrophysics, tuning in, that's cool. But how does that serve my purpose? pure virality isn't as good as on target virality. So you want to make sure that you have a a good pie slice of the greater thing, but then you want to make sure you're getting like 99% of your pie slice rather than like 20% of everything. Because that 99% of your little piece can convert to more dollars for you and help your business grow. In this case, help this podcast grow with me speaking positivity into the world and helping people become themselves and just learning and documenting about my own self and my own life in such. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that's number two. Number three, fish where the fish are, okay? You don't need every social media platform, okay? Focus on video, show up where your target buyer is, focus deeply on one platform, and that's it, okay? For me, like here on the Positivity Hour, this podcast is about positivity. I just figured out my target audience member. I'm talking to 18 to 35-year-olds primarily. And looking at my data, it's 66.6% men. So I'm talking to young men my age, 18 to 34, and I think I said 16. That airplane was loud; it threw me off. But young men, 18 to 34, and some women, like 24 to 35, something like that. And that's my target demographic. So that means I got to show up where y'all be at. And young people like us, we are on Instagram, we're on TikTok, we're on Snapchat, we're on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? And conveniently, the only place I've been not posting was TikTok. So because of that, I got back my TikTok and I'm starting to just have a similar experience on all platforms, but more to come on that soon. So remember, fish where the fish are, and rather than just trying to be everywhere. I don't need to have LinkedIn like some people say. I don't need to be on Visco super heavy because people just go there to have real social media rather than it be something to drive sales or drive engagement to this podcast on Spotify or YouTube or what have you. Um, I say all that to say that only expand your bandwidth when there's an actual need and your team grows and such. So the fact that I'm on Instagram, Snapchat, YouTube, and potentially TikTok is already crazy. That's why I've been focusing a lot on just Instagram because and YouTube, Instagram and YouTube as those two because they have two drastically different audiences for me that can also convert objectively, whether it's for video clients on YouTube and like photo and video clients on Instagram, as well as just being able to drive media for this podcast and get more people in the door so I could help y'all. This podcast is free. I don't ever plan on running an ad or whatever because of point five, but we'll get there. So number four, think in islands versus ecosystems. Okay, platforms are islands and users tend to stay on them. So create native content for each platform and don't try to pull people away. Statistically speaking, a platform a platform's greatest interest is to keep you, the user, on it as long as possible so they can keep throwing more and more and more and more and more ads in front of you. So if you come along on YouTube and you're like, everyone go watch my Twitch stream, like don't be surprised if they start suppressing that because you're taking people off of YouTube and bringing them to Twitch to make more money. That's why you see the Twitch streamers that make YouTube clip channels, they never really like plug their Twitch super hard. They just happen to post clips from Twitch that people naturally go and make the switch. I could think of a perfect example that happened in the last 2 weeks, or I guess last month. The rapper, singer, songwriter, great father, DDG is a phenomenal example. I've followed DDG's music career since like 2016. And that converted to me being on his YouTube channel because he made vlogs and I wanted to see what a young black man having money and success out here and actually wanted to give back to his community was looking like. And conveniently, all these years later, he turned one of those YouTube channels into his clips channels and his clips were going off. I was seeing the clips and I was like, man, whatever. I need to follow DDG. And then literally like I move over to Twitch 2 days later and next thing you know, before you know it, he hits 1 million followers on Twitch. So that's just a natural progression for me on how I was interacting with the content I was seeing out there. And that's only because homie was thinking in islands versus ecosystems. And I thought that was such a novel concept. I mean, it's really not, but I just had never really considered it that your main person isn't really going to switch between multiple platforms. They're either going to do this or they're going to do that. So, yeah, back to point five now, just to wrap this up, because I said this was going to be short. We're not doing the time capsule. We're not doing, wisdom from your OG. I haven't recorded my own podcast in so long, I forgot the sections. But we'll be back to the normally scheduled program, or maybe a modified version of it next week. But yeah, number 5, value doesn't accrue at the media layer. You got to think of social media as like a 3-tiered system, okay? Tier number 1 at the top is like you selling your own product or service. That's, me selling t-shirts for this podcast or something like that. The middle layer is what we're doing right now. You watching this on YouTube, you listening to this on Spotify and Apple Music, so on and so forth. But then the bottom layer is where the most money is made, and that is the platforms themselves. That is Spotify hosting this podcast for free so that they can occasionally run an ad on it if you watch longer than a minute, and it's copyrighted because I'm not cool enough to have ads yet. But, if I play some copyrighted material, they're going to throw ads on it anyways. So those people can go make money. I say all that to say that a lot of people think that when you have like 1 million followers on Instagram or 1 million followers on TikTok or something like that, that you're just going to instantly be rich. And that's not the case because, yeah, like YouTube AdSense exists, or TikTok creator share money, or even the Instagram share money platforms or whatever it is that exists. But like you can do like 1 billion views and make like $10,000, a good amount of money, but 1 billion views? Come on, brother. Like, what are we doing? The money is in the top layer, okay? What we were just describing is the middle layer, okay? But the top layer, like I'm saying, that's me selling a t-shirt. If we're talking about the Positivity God brand, since this podcast is a long form version of the Positivity God brand, me doing inspiration, motivational content, I eventually want to like be able to speak to people, public speaking engagements and so on and so forth. And like that's me selling courses, that's me selling speaking fees, that's me visiting a prison or something, and providing some wisdom to this next generation that's about to be free with no opportunities, stuff like that. You can I maybe, because I'll tell you, like on Spotify alone, my podcast in its life has made about $7. That's when I was running ads, and now I'm not eligible, but previously I was, and I made like $7. I didn't even know that. I can't take it out till 25 though, so that's kind of sad. They're holding my money hostage. But like, yeah, was a whole thing. But it's like, even with my like 35 followers and my like 10 streams on Spotify and 5 on Apple and 20 to 30 on YouTube, I could like sell merch and make like $20 or $30 an episode or something if I do it right, And it's like, you see the difference. It's like me waiting for the platform to give me a few pennies on the dollar, when it's like I could, make a great product, do a good service, give you so much value, and not even plug something really to which you're just like, man, maybe I will go to DarshaunSmithProductions.com/merch. I mean, that's not actually the website. I need to buy the domain, but you get the point. And buy a shirt or whatever. So yeah, I say all of that to say that, hey, these last 2 weeks, I guess we will have a little let's get personal section, okay? These last 2 weeks have been very interesting, y'all, because me, I like to make a lot of content. I like to work really hard. I like to show up and show out and just truly be my best self out here. And these last few weeks have been very insightful because, I've fallen off the horse a little bit, but luckily I pre-made a buttload of content. But as of yesterday, or rather 2 days ago now, because it's Sunday, it's like 9 p.m. or something like that. And on Friday, yeah, 9:18, I'm gonna have one of those, okay? Put a picture up on the screen, put the one I want. I'm manifesting it. I'm just kidding. I don't believe in that. But I will have one of those. That'll buy every house in my neighborhood, so I'll know I made it when I could do something like that. That being said, I finished posting all of my batched content. So now I'm in the area where it's like, okay, I got to make more. I got to level up. I got to, take through the wisdom and the knowledge in which I've just learned from this last, 2 weeks, or rather 2 months posting all this content, and do better. So one thing you can expect going forward, both with this podcast, but also my content on Instagram, my content on YouTube in general, my content on, Facebook, because it gets posted on Facebook automatically because Instagram is part of Facebook. Stuff like that is just higher quality. And because of that, you may see less content. I was posting 3, like, as I would say, high budget videos a week, plus photos, plus some low budget videos on Instagram stories or whatever. Same thing with Snapchat here and there. And it's just not sustainable because, you know, I'm in the business of making content for other people, so that takes up some of my time as well. And then also, I gotta live life. You know, I got a day job, stuff like that. So I may be moving to like one video a week, okay, maybe even like one crazy video a month. But because of that and everything I have within me, that gives me more time to actually make something people can't click away from. You know, that gives me time to make a podcast episode that people are like, wow, damn, that was so good. Make an Instagram clip where they just have to keep watching it or they have to share it with their friends or so on and so forth. So I just want to let y'all know we up, okay? I've been living through a lot of change recently. That is a Durango Hellcat. That is so cool. Floor it. Let me hear it. Floor it. Nah, man. Lame. But yeah, that's a Durango Hellcat. You may have seen that in the back. That was pretty cool. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just yapping at this point. It's a great day to have a great day. I love my life. Stay positive or not. The choice is yours. Get the bread. And yeah, this has been your host, Darshaun Smith, episode 180 of the Positivity Hour podcast. And yeah, man, I'll see y'all next week. Make sure you like, subscribe, unsubscribe, hate, comment, follow, unfollow, share, report. I don't care what you do, as long as you're being yourself, man. That's all that really matters. So thank you for your time. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for, you know, being a part of this journey. And I just want to let y'all know, okay? I'm so serious. Like, whoever's here right now, I love and appreciate you. Like, for real. Because I've had a lot of people switch up on me as of late. I've had a lot of people, you know, tap in here and there and be super inconsistent. I've had a lot of people just, you know, show their lack of, you know, trust in the process, we'll say. And it's a beautiful thing. I'm not mad at it. You know, I appreciate you for showing your true colors. But I want to let you know, we up, we lit, we us, we gone. Woo! I love my life. Want to change a thing, man. Look at my car, bro. Lord have mercy.
I'm in my G'd up zone. I'm about to get it in, kick your feet up, home. Days turn to weeks when you're always on the grind all night. I got my re-up back. I'm about to get it in, I'll be right back.
Nate, high lows to those who don't know the name. And G'd up, yup, that's the only thing I claim.